All right, what's going on, my freaks and geeks? This is the Square Roundtable, and I'm your host, Chad Singleton. Everybody go ahead and introduce yourself.
D.
I'm Josh Singleton.
I'm Marcus.
All right, guys, and we have a special guest with us here today. This guy's been kicking butt his whole career, not only in martial arts competitions, but on the silver screen as some of our favorite pop culture superheroes. This guy, he has so many names. Goes by Red Dragon, even Batman, and everybody's favorite Shirai Ryu Ninja Scorpion. Everybody give it up for my man, Chris Casamassa. What's going on, Chris?
Hey. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. Like, we are so happy that you wanted to, take time out of your busy schedule just to chop it up, a little bit with us. We think that's awesome, man. We appreciate it.
Well, I had to say yes when I saw the name of your show was the Square Roundtable.
See,
I don't know what that is, but I got to be on it.
Look, I told y'all that was a good name.
Hey, good name.
Well, look, Chris, I am so glad you appreciate that.
Yes.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right in. But I just want to know a little bit of your background, Chris. I want to know what made you gravitate towards martial arts, and how did that skill help you out in your career in general?
Well, good question. So my dad got me into martial arts when I was 4 years old, and I got into it because he was into it. He actually is the founder and creator of our style of martial arts. So my dad served in the military, and when he was in the military, he was stationed in Japan, and that's where he got his first taste of the martial arts, and he fell in love with it and stayed there until he made his black belt, and then continued training in different styles until he actually has amassed black belts in 10 different styles of martial arts. And
oh, wow.
So way back in the 1960s, he did something that was literally unheard of, and he took the knowledge that he had, the different martial arts styles that he learned, and he put them all together and kind of made his own thing, which, we've been doing this since our 55th year in business now. So wow. I got started when I was 4 years old, and my dad said, listen, you can start, but you can't stop until you make it to black belt. And I was 4 and I didn't even know what that meant, but I was like, okay, I just wanted to be around my dad because he's my hero. And I made it to black belt, and I got hooked and just kind of stayed in it and stayed with it my whole life.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really awesome. And specifically, what style of martial arts do you practice?
So our style is called Red Dragon Karate, which is obviously a mixed martial arts style. It incorporates styles from Japan, China, Okinawa, Korea, the Philippines, Indonesia, and even Tibet. So it's nowadays, mixed martial arts in the last decade or so has become such a popular thing. And I could literally probably throw a rock from where I'm at right now and hit a mixed martial arts studio. But like I said, we were doing this before it was a thing.
Right.
So that's what our style is. It's classified as American karate because, like America, it's a mix of everybody, right? We're all mutts here in this country. So that's pretty much what our system and style is.
Wow. That's definitely really awesome. But yeah, so being able to combine like all these different styles, like I know that takes a lot of discipline, and I just want to know, because I've seen some of the titles you've had from your competitions, the North American Sports Karate Association, that sort of thing, and ninth degree black belt. I just want to know, like, what type of discipline and what kind of things have you done to become the martial artist pretty much of your caliber?
Well, I can sum it up in 3 words.
All right.
Never give up.
Awesome.
That's it. Never give up. That's the discipline that comes from learning the martial arts, is you learn this attitude of just never giving up, just continually moving forward and going after the things that you want. No one's going to give them to you. You got to go get them. So that's what I learned at a very young age. And it's just like my black belt. Like, people think, oh, your dad was your instructor, he just gave you your black belt. The reality of the situation is, when I did my very first black belt test, I failed. My dad did not pass me. And I thought, I was 9 years old at the time. I'd spent 5 years training. He's going to pass me. And I didn't practice. And basically, he just told me, you look terrible, and there's no way I'm putting a black belt on you. So I learned a very hard lesson at a very young age. And I had to wait an entire year to retest for my black belt. Wow. So that was really a sticking point in my life. And it was something that taught me, hey, if you want it, you can get it, but you got to work for it.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a good 3 words.
That's definitely. Definitely.
Yeah,
and that,
Chris,
go ahead, Josh.
Chris, have you ever administered your own black belt initiation test, or gave like a black belt test to someone? before?
Oh yeah. I've been doing and running and operating martial arts schools now for a little over a quarter of a century. So I've promoted hundreds of people to black belt.
Oh, wow. I mean, I really like that sentiment that you just said, because a lot of people, you know, they look at failure as something that's just the worst thing in the world. But, you know, I know that you can attest to it, that failure and your shortcomings is pretty much what propelled you and gave you the strength to keep moving forward. You know, so in a lot of ways, you know, as long as you learn from, you know, the mistake you made, failure could be looked at in a positive light. That's something that can help you know better what to do different next time. So
100%. It's all mindset. And that's really one of the things that we teach. And Chad, I know you're a fan of that with the things that you're doing. But your mindset really is everything. And what's that old saying? Like, life is 5% what happens to you and 95% of how you react to it.
How you react. Yes.
Right?
100%. Sir. Yes.
So that's really it. I mean, you referenced the North American Sport Karate Association. That's the pro tour for martial artists that I spent 10 years on that circuit. Now, the last 4 years of my career, I was the #1 competitor in the world. But the first 6 years, I sucked and I got crushed and wiped out year after year. But I had that same thing, like never give up. And I got help from the guys that were the #1 people in the world at the time. I'm like, hey, do you do private lessons? Yeah. So I would reach out to these people to learn their tricks and their tips and their secrets. And I kept putting in the work. And then I went from last, to 7th to 6th to 4th. And then that year I ended up being #1. I was like, oh, that's like a drug. I'm gonna do that again. Right. You know what I mean? And I spent 4 years being #1. I wanted to be like Seinfeld. I'm like, I'm going out on top. I'm done.
There you go.
But is karate a tight-knit style, or is it like a amalgamation of other styles, or how many styles of karate is there?
It's a good question. Karate is like the word Scotch tape, right? There's really no such thing as Scotch tape. There's transparent tape, but the brand itself is so powerful that you associate the word Scotch tape with all transparent tape. Karate is the same way in America. Everybody thinks all martial arts styles are karate. There's even like Korean styles that are Taekwondo, but they use the word karate in their advertising because it's such a commonplace word that everybody just associates with martial arts training. So karate itself was developed in Japan and Okinawa. That's where it comes from. But in America, it's become kind of this Scotch tape word.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everybody knows what karate is,
Right.
Like everybody knows, oh, karate, I know what that is. Martial arts. If you say like Taekwondo, people are like, I don't know.
Right, but then you get in there and get your butt.
Even the Ninja Turtles, right? People go, I want to learn karate like the Ninja Turtles. But the name of who they are is ninjas. They don't do karate, they do ninjutsu.
Yeah.
People go, I'm learning Ninja Turtle karate. No, you're not.
Well, I definitely said that as a kid, so I could attest to that.
But that's okay. Like it's, for me, it's just more, as long as it's awareness in people's mind and they're out there and doing it. And listen, I'm a huge fan of the martial arts. Obviously, it's helped me do everything that I've ever wanted to do in my life because of the discipline and focus that it taught me, which is why I always tell people on every show I get on, listen, if you have a kid and you're hearing my voice right now, you should start them in the martial arts. I don't care what kind, I don't care what style, but start them in it because it'll help them not only learn how to protect themselves, but they'll do better in school. They'll do better in other sports. They'll do better at home. If they're in the right studio with the right teachers, the right trainers. Like I'm one of the people that believe, like, if everybody in the United States took 1 year of martial arts, like our world would be such a better place because the respect, discipline, and focus that it teaches you. That sometimes, unfortunately, it's lacking in a lot of homes today. There's single parent homes, whatever it is. And it's through no fault of anybody. It's just that structure just isn't there anymore. And that's one of the great things that martial arts provides.
100%. Yes. No, that's definitely awesome. And
you
you made a great point. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, Chris, it's funny how you talk about structure, but could you give us a explanation of what your business Kick and Fit is?
Kick and Fit Kids is a fitness program for kids. That's essentially 6 weeks. The kids that go through the program will lose 10 pounds or more, or we give them their money back. And as long as we've ever been doing this program, which is coming up on a decade now, we've never had to refund a single person because they've all lost at least 10 pounds or more. Now that program itself has now become part of our bully-proof lifestyle program because when we were doing it, we found it wasn't so much about the kids just losing the weight. It was them about building self-esteem and being able to protect themselves. Because listen, sometimes kids are evil little bastards. They have no filter. So they pick on kids because of the way they look, the shape of their body, their hair. Like kids sometimes are just evil. And
brutally honest.
Yeah, they're brutally honest, man. And I mean, I went through, we all went through it probably at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
For sure.
Luckily, we've come out on the other side and we're all right, but a lot of kids aren't. And so we took our Kick and Fit Kids program, we morphed it into our Bully Proof Life program. And that's where it sits today.
Wow. Okay. So going from that, kind of piggybacking off of that, was a great question, Josh. So how did that feed into the inception of your Bullyproof Fitness book? Specifically, was there something that just kind of put you into action and make you want to make a book with that sort of, I guess, the sort of construct that your programs have, or like what made you want to create that book?
So it pretty much what you just said, right? At our studios in California, we helped thousands of kids live a better lifestyle, feel better about themselves, lose weight, get in shape, and be able to protect themselves. But I wanted more. I knew what we were doing was working. I also knew I needed a way to reach a bigger audience. So my goal right now, part of my mission and passion and my purpose in life is I'm on a quest to help 1 million kids become bully-proof and fit by 2025. And as of right now, a little over 65,000 kids have gone through our course or experienced the Bully Proof program in some capacity or another. Now, I was on track to do it, but then of course COVID hit. So I haven't been able to travel. Like I literally been traveling the world. I go to local schools, churches, YMCAs, wherever they want me to impact as many people as I can. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because the book can go out worldwide, right? Yeah. And then that gives them access to tools, because we have our, with our website and our app, which is, it's all free. There's resources for kids and parents there. They go to bullyprooflife.com. They can download the stuff. Even a digital copy of the book is there. The money that I raised from the sale of my book, the proceeds benefit the Kid Smart Foundation, which is a nonprofit charity to help kids that are at risk that maybe can't afford martial arts or things like that. So I'm just out trying to do whatever I can. Being on shows like this is helpful because you guys help me get the word out to an audience that I may not be able to impact or reach. And that's why I really appreciate it. And I like doing these shows.
Definitely.
It's no problem.
Besides the cool name, the Square Round Table.
See, look now y'all got to give me props. Like y'all can't talk about my name.
Hey, we never talked about your name. We were backing it the whole time. What do you mean?
But yeah, Chris, I really appreciate that, man. And I can see that you're on that spectrum on both ends. Number one, being a professional martial artist, then wanting to make it more available for kids so they can be more fit. And one thing that I like that you said, talking about the Ninja Turtles, like growing up, especially for me, I wanted to do karate by looking at the Ninja Turtles, by looking at Scorpion, by looking at Batman, like, and all these kind of things get children pumped up about something that, from looking at the movies, they don't really have a realistic perspective of it, but at least it gets them interested, And I wanted to know, what were your experiences like working on like Batman and Robin and Mortal Kombat, and how did these roles as these literal pop culture icons come to fruition for you?
Well, which one do you want to start with, Batman or Mortal Kombat?
Let's start with Scorpion.
Yeah,
all right,
please.
Yes.
So I got the role of Scorpion pretty much, I'm going to say by accident, but I'll pre-frame with what I'm saying. The Mortal Kombat film, I had been in a bunch of small budget, like not big blockbuster movies before, because like anything, you start at the bottom, right? People think, oh, my first big movie was Mortal Kombat, but I had done like a half a dozen straight to video things that were like nightmares, but those are building blocks, right? And it prepares you for the moment. So I got a call for the audition for Mortal Kombat, but it wasn't for any of the roles. They told us, my agent told me, he said, look, all the roles are filled. They just need background fighters, but it's a major Hollywood film. You should go do this. It's good exposure. You'll meet some good people. I'm like, great, I'll go do it. So we went in, and there were literally like 100 guys there because they needed like 25 background fighters, and they wanted to see everybody's martial arts skill. And they had the producer and directors, and I didn't know who they were, but they were just basically 3 people sitting in chairs, and they had it set up just like a martial arts tournament. So this is great because I had just come off the pro tour where I had retired from professional competition. And I'm like, 3 guys sitting in the chairs in a square room. That's exactly what we do at the tournaments. So I'm like, I got this for sure. But I wanted to do something that would help stand out and really set the point. So when I was doing my routine, I got through the first part of it, and I ran towards the people in the chairs, and they were sitting. So they were only 3 feet high. I jumped over him, did a jump kick over the top of him, and landed on the other side of him. And then when I did it, I remember to this day, they're sitting in their chairs. I remember watching them do this. So I landed on the other side of them, and I just did like a jump roll over the top back, and I finished. So that night I get a phone call, and my agent goes, "Hey, they want you to come back tomorrow." I'm like, wow, just for a background fighter? That's pretty crazy. I go back the next day. There's about 25 guys, a much smaller group. And they say, "Can you guys do any weapons?" So I did some weapons, did some cool stuff. I get a call that night. They say, they want you to come back again. I'm like, oh my God, how hard is it to be a background fighter in these films? So I go back the third day, and there's just 3 guys, me and 2 other guys. And we're standing there, and they have an actual movie camera there. And there are a bunch of people who at the time I had no idea who they were. Mm-hmm. And this is where I'm sometimes a little bit of a smart ass, and this is where it gets me into trouble sometimes. But a guy walked up to me, and he looked at all 3 of us. He goes, "Would you guys mind taking off your shirts?" And I said, "If it'll help us get the part, I'll be happy to go to your trailer."
Oh my
now, God. Right? So you laugh. He didn't laugh.
Oh,
it was like,
no.
I was like, oh, I'm so dead. Like, I thought it would be funny, but it wasn't funny to him at the time. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm toast. So we're like, all right. So the 3 of us take off our shirts. And of course, I always try and keep myself in really good shape. I look to the left, guy on the left, got a little bit of a belly on him. Guy to the right, he's like a Furby dude, like he's covered in hair. So we're all trying to like pose out. They take the camera, they film us, they go into this football huddle. And the guy walks up to me that I made the joke to, who ended up being the director, and I had no idea he was the director. But he shakes my hand, he goes, welcome to Mortal Kombat, you're gonna be Scorpion. So nice. I went through all of that never knowing that part was open or had been open. And to this day, I don't really know what happened. But looking back on it, again, you talk about preparation and opportunity. People go, "Oh, you're so lucky to get that role." I wasn't lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. I developed the right skill set. And the producer of the film, Larry Kasanoff, to his credit, he wanted the best martial artist he could find to fill those roles because he wanted to do justice to the video game. So it was important to him, not necessarily to have like great actors, although, Lyndon Ashby and Robin Hood, those guys are great actors, but he wanted to bring real martial arts and do justice to the video game. And, that's part of the reason why I think it's really just stood the test of time.
No, it definitely has, certainly. Yeah, I mean, that's really amazing. Like you talk about, like you said, preparation and just stuff that you've done, because you did so much before that. And at that point in time, you had already retired from but that's cool. So you already had the skill set needed to, when it was time, you rose to the occasion. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and the funniest part was I called my mom afterwards. I was all excited, because I knew exactly who Scorpion was. Because my two favorite characters in the game I used to play were Raiden and Scorpion, right? And so those are my 2 favorite characters. So to have him say that to me, like I had a smile on my face. I looked like the Joker for like a week, this big ear-to-ear grin. But I got home and I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I got this part in the movie. I'm gonna be Scorpion. She goes, "Oh, that's great, honey. What's a scorpion?"
Right.
But you had no idea.
That's what's up. That's really cool, man. But, no, because go ahead, Josh.
Oh well, this might sound like a dumb question, but is doing like martial arts in the movie choreographed, or did they just say, okay, well, you guys go ahead and
100%? No. 100% choreographed. And that's why people go, "Why did Scorpion lose?" And I go, "It was in the script." Scorpion
shouldn't have lost. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
It was in the script. That's the only reason why Scorpion lost. It was in the script. But yeah, man, it's 100% choreographed, and we spent a couple of weeks rehearsing those fight scenes so that when you're filming them, nothing goes wrong, and that we make it as safe as possible. Especially when you're working with actors that aren't really as trained in the martial arts as you are. It's important to have that rehearsal time.
Right, so you'll make it safe for them too.
Yeah, You don't want people getting hurt.
No.
Yeah.
No, definitely, because there's no way. Like, I was just looking at some of the fight sequences. I'm like, man, like I can't do that at all. Like, ever. I'm gonna get hurt. So
man, please. I was trying it on my brother as soon as I watched.
Right,
right. We were in the square. I'm like, let's go.
Exactly. So yeah, Chris, basically, you've been the cause of a lot of like 8 to 10-year-olds jumping off of their beds.
Exactly. I'm about to get over here.
Right.
Yeah,
that's where where I say sorry, not sorry.
Right, definitely. So yeah, was it a so basically for Batman and Robin, was it a similar process to where it was so many guys that had to be a stunt double?
No.
Or?
So here's again the great thing. So I did the work on Mortal Kombat, and that film wraps. A couple months later, I get the call for Batman and Robin because some of the stunt team that was on the Mortal Kombat film had got hired on the Batman and Robin film. And the guy who was the fight coordinator, I had worked for him on a much smaller film like 4 years ago, but he remembered me. And that, again, so respect and kindness, right? Always treat people the way you want to be treated, which was great advice that my dad gave me when I first started getting into the movie business. He goes, Chris, look, when you're on these sets, your goal is yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir. That's what you say. And he goes, when you're doing movies and you finally get $1 million in the bank, then you look at them and you say, yes, sir, no, sir, thank you, sir, but do you think we could try it this way? And I said, all right, that's great advice, right? Always be kind, always be respectful, even if you got the money in the bank. So it served me well all that time. So I worked with that guy and we had a good relationship. And he goes, you know what? You're about the same height and size as George Clooney. Come in and meet the director. So I came in and met the director for Batman and Robin, who was Joel Schumacher. And I met him and he walks up to me, he grabs my chin. He goes, oh my God, your chin and George's chin are the exact same. You're perfect. And I go, do you want to see me do anything? He goes, no, I don't need to see you do anything. Pat says you're good. You're good. I go, I'm good. So that was a
just like that.
Wow. Yeah, just like that. And
wow.
And there you go. And then so I got to be able to do that. And I'm one of maybe a dozen people on the planet that's ever gotten to wear the bat suit. So that was a cool experience. You know, it was $100 million budget film, and it was just an all around. You know, I got to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone. So it was just an all around amazing experience. And you know, you hear the stories, but it's true. And it takes to get into the bat suit. It doesn't happen fast like in the movies. It takes about 30 minutes, and it takes 3 or 4 people to help you get in that suit. But the cool thing is, as soon as you have it on, the first thing that you do is you find a mirror. And you look in it and you say, I'm Batman.
Yes.
You got to.
Yes, you have to.
It's part of the job requirement.
Part of it. It's got to be.
Respect the suit, man. You got to respect it.
But Chris, I got to ask, man, because like so many people, like you, not a lot of people get a chance to say that. You know, I'm Batman and Scorpion, which are like two like Goliaths, really, like, you know, in the comic book industry, in the video game industry. Like, how does that feel? I know you get like so many people, and I see it all the time, all the fan art and all that stuff. Like, how does that feel, man?
You know, it feels good. I really, especially with Mortal Kombat, I was a big fan of the game. So when we were doing the fighting, I wanted to keep it as true to the game as possible. Because if you remember back in that time, a few other video game movies had come out and they all bombed. They all tanked, like Double Dragon, Street Fighter. There's another one that came out, but they all did horrible at the box office. So for us, you know, we ended up being the #1 movie that summer. We were the #1 movie for like 3-4 weeks in a row, #1 soundtrack. It just killed. And again, I give Larry Kasanoff, the producer, a lot of the credit for that because he brought in the right people. It's just a perfect storm of things. But now it's been 25 years. There's still a ton of Mortal Kombat fans. The game is still one of the most popular and highest selling video games every year after year. It's on MK11 now, I think. And it's because of the fans. So it feels great because I love it. I appreciate the fan support, and the fans can dictate what happens in a film. For example, when we shot the original Mortal Kombat film, that fight scene was not in the original cut. There was another fight scene that was about 4 moves long, and Johnny Cage ended up knocking out Scorpion. And when they did the test screenings, the fans, and this is what they told me, the fans got up, threw their popcorn at the screen, and walked out.
Because they know the fans.
They know
and the fans know. So for them to still support it after all this time, and you know, of course, Batman is, you know, that's a quadrillion-dollar franchise, ton of fans on that. So like I'm just blessed to be part of that franchise, and just going to continue to keep doing what I can to promote it and help out. So I appreciate it. People go, oh, all right, doesn't that bug you? Like people, like sometimes even my kids are like, you know, doesn't that bug you when you go somewhere and people ask for your autograph? I'm like, no, I mean, think of that person. And like, if I had an impact on their life, or a lot of people go, I started karate because of you. I started martial arts because I was a big fan of Scorpion, or I love Batman. That makes me feel great because I know the impact that it's having on their life. So listen, I totally appreciate it.
Yeah, man, because like definitely, like all of us here, you a big part of like our growing up in childhood, because we all are like fans of like for me, Mortal Kombat was like my favorite game, and I loved it even more because my mom wouldn't let me play it. So that made me like so,
right.
and then like Scorpion's always been like my favorite character to fight with. Like even now, my brother hates me to this day when I choose Scorpion because I just murk him with him. So you know, it's so cool because
I love
like,
it.
you really are like a big part of like us growing up, because most of us here we grew up. We 90s babies, so we are that era of like kids that's growing up now, and it's just so awesome that, you know, what you do and, you know, how you inspire people, man. It's beautiful.
Right, man. I appreciate that. And listen, you said the right thing when you said Scorpion was your favorite character, because one of these shows I was on, the one guy came on and goes, "Oh, I love Sub-Zero." I just hit the delete button. I'm like, I'm out.
look, as you should.
Yeah, the disrespect. They bring you on there.
This would have been a much shorter interview.
You know, like we are all Shirai Ryu around here. So But oh, go ahead, Jeff.
But yeah, more on safety and violence. Is being a stunt double as dangerous as people may think?
Yes and no. And it really all depends on the set. I mean, obviously we're hitting the ground, we're hitting walls, we're getting pulled by wires through stuff. So there's an element of danger in there. But with the crews and the cast that I've been fortunate enough to work with, safety has always been the primary concern. And, you know, I'm gonna knock on wood. I've never been hurt on a movie set, you know, beyond like when Lyndon, who played Johnny Cage, he and I were fighting up on that platform, like during the middle of the fight scene once, he actually punched me in the face. And to me, it was nothing because I'm used to that. I grew up in it. Right. So I just kept going. And he's like, oh my God. I'm like, don't stop. The director didn't say cut. But other than that, you know, bumps and bruises is part of the job, and that's what we do. So it has the potential to be dangerous, but most of the time it's pretty safe.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool. But yeah, so Johnny's feelings were hurt. Hey, but that's good stuff. That's good stuff. And just one more thing before we go. I know you're big on marketing and public speaking, and I just want to know, because like everybody right now, or a lot of people right now, are starting businesses. Even us with this podcast, this is a business for us. And I just want to know, as far as marketing yourself, how important like is quality and service for businesses, especially in times like these right now?
Well, listen, when you're talking about business, quality should always be job one, right? Quality and customer service, taking care of your customers, because if you take care of your customers are going to take care of you. But when it comes to what you're doing, or anybody who's trying to start a YouTube channel or go on Reels on Instagram or drop a TikTok, like the real thing is done is better than perfect. You don't want to sit there and like overthink it. Just get your content out. If your audience likes it, they will respond to it. And then you can improve your background, your sound, your quality, all that improves over time. It gives you something to look back on to see how far you've come. But too many people hesitate out of fear, and they say, oh, I just want it to be perfect. Right. But in reality, they're just scared to put out what they have. It's never going to be perfect, but get it out there. So listen, for what you're doing, like, I'm proud of you. You're making the right move. Like, it doesn't matter. Like that one dude, Marcus, looks like he's sitting in a closet. I have no idea where he's at. But it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know if he's on a timeout or whatever. He got in trouble. But
not a timeout. Oh my God.
But it still doesn't matter, because this content, this interview is going to get out there. It's going to go, and hopefully, you know, the fans and people respond to it, and then you're going to move on. You're going to get better, and it's going to get better over time, and that's how you build an audience, and that's how you grow a brand.
Hey, all you freaks and geeks out there, we are the Square Round Table. The Square Round Table podcast is brought to you by Science on a Postcard. Science on a Postcard is an online store that specializes in science-themed enamel badges, lanyards, environmentally friendly tote bags, notebooks, and lots more goodies that represent individuality and inclusivity in the scientific community. You could find all these wonderful products on scienceonapostcard.com. And for all our YouTube watchers out there, We will add their website and all their social media platforms in the description below. And now a word from our sponsors. The Square Roundtable podcast is brought to you by 2Photon Art. 2Photon is an art collective whose primary mission is to make science more accessible through science communication and art. Some of their art includes science-themed patches, jewelry, stickers, zines, and clothing, all of which contribute to the inclusivity, equality, and the overall advocacy for human rights in and out of the scientific community. You can find all of these wonderful pieces on 2photonart.com. And for all our YouTube viewers out there, we will add all of their website and social media info in the description below. For sure. Good advice. Well, no, I really appreciate that, Chris, and I love how you just like talked about Marcus. That made my day.
That made my day too.
Because I say that out of love. I say that out of love, man, because you're doing it.
I love it.
I mean, not everybody can say they got Joan by Scorpion. Okay?
Yeah, you might as well wear that as a badge of honor, bro.
I'm gonna brag about them for the rest of my life.
But yeah, Chris, how did you get started on your business endeavor? Like, what are the first things that you did to get your name out there?
Well, to get for the business side of it, I started working for my dad. Right when I was 16 years old, I started becoming an assistant instructor and worked my way up to a floor instructor, and then a manager, and finally a general manager of one of our schools. And then that's the other thing, right? So we have 12 locations now. And I thought, well, I've worked for my dad for 5 or 6 years. He's just going to give me this studio. He made me buy it. He made me take out a loan and buy that business from him. And I hated him at the time, but looking back on it, I'm glad he did, because if he had just handed me the keys, I was young, I was dumb. I thought I knew everything, because that's what you do when you're in your early 20s. Sorry, guys. And I didn't know anything about business. I knew a lot about martial arts, but I didn't know about business. But I knew I had to pay the bank back every month. So I had to make sure the business was running right. Otherwise, my dad was out of the equation. It was on the bank, or on the power company, or on the phone company, or back in the day, you used to have to put an advertisement in the yellow pages in the phone book. Luckily, we don't have to do that crap anymore.
I remember that.
Yeah. So, that's part of how I started to get my name out there, how I started to do those things, was just cutting my teeth. And again, I give the credit to my dad. The only thing my dad ever gave me was opportunity. And he gave me the opportunity to do this, to train in martial arts with you can't stop unless you're a black belt. Gave me the opportunity to work with them, and that was fine. But when he gave me the opportunity to own, he was like, I'm not giving it to you. You can buy a business just like anybody else. So he put me through all my paces and did all the things that made me who I am.
Wow. That's awesome, Chris. That's really awesome.
That is, man.
Yeah, certainly. And that's a big thing, about just the way, like, I guess, parents and parenting and how, you raise your children and stuff like that. Because I can speak for myself. My parents have done the same thing. Me and my brother work for my dad's company. He owned a cleaning service, and we worked for that. We were 10 years old working all the way until he went to do something else. And then me and Joshua owned the company after a while. And then, so it just helps with our work ethic. It helped us know the meaning of a dollar, so all those things are so important. And I think it's great, that what you're
100% right, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you're right on point.
That is so
That's awesome. And I'll bet you this. I'll bet you when you were working for your dad, you'd say, hey, are we getting paid? And he'd be like, you see that roof over your head? You see that food on the table? You see the clothes in your room? That's your pay. Because that's what my dad said to me.
Right.
Dad,
exactly.
I worked 40 hours. Dad, I put in 40 hours this week for you. He's like, all right, here's $40. And you got a place to sleep and food to eat. Oh, and that car you're driving, who paid for that? I'm like, damn, it's right.
Exactly. But it's just like one thing for me, and it kind of reminds me of that, which is why it's kind of like it's just all comes full circle, because one of the things me and my dad would do, like part of my payment was after we would get done working, there would be a game store right across the street. And like I would beg my dad, like every time I'd be like, Dad, I got to get Mortal Kombat. So like he would go get me like Mortal Kombat Deception or whatever it was at the time. And him and my mom would have a discussion. They were like, he's too young to play that. He can't do it. But they would end up giving it to me. But, just that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool, man. So that was my payment for working with my dad, Mortal Kombat.
Hey,
great payment.
Who can ask for a better payment?
That's perfect, man.
Seriously.
But Chad wasn't like me, where I was too young at the time, and I could only play when I snuck in the room when he was playing it.
Exactly. But definitely. But yeah, Chris, it's been such a pleasure having you on, man.
Yeah, man. 100%. Thank you. I listen. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
Definitely appreciate you.
We had a good time. Man. This is great.
Yeah, man. Listen, thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks for helping me get the word out about the Bully Proof program. Good luck to you. I want to see your podcast blow up. I want you to crush Joe Rogan so you can dominate the podcast space. And, you know, that way you can get Marcus a little better office.
Yes. There we go. Somebody said it.
And Joshua.
Let's do
Joshua.
Joe Rogan
Joshua looks like he's getting ready to do a horror movie. I'm waiting for someone with a knife to like come around the corner with his look right there.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I need to get me a little better lighting situation. But,
yeah, you look like you're ready to audition. You're ready to audition for a Jordan Peele movie.
Exactly.
There you go. See,
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. But but yeah, Chris. So before we get out of here, man, definitely tell everybody out there on power214.com and all of our watchers out there on YouTube, your social media, anything that you have going on right now that you want to talk about, just let our people know.
Yeah, man. I'm really easy to find on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat. Like, just type in my name and good luck with the spelling. But maybe you can put that in the description. The right name. Just type in Chris Casamassa, type in Scorpion for Mortal Kombat. You'll be able to find me. Follow me on all the socials. If you're interested in the bullying, the bully program, just go to bullyprooflife.com. And there's a free app in the App Store, whether you have an iOS phone, Apple phone, or Android phone. Just type in Bullyproof Fitness in the App Store. It's a free app. I don't sell anything on the app. It's all free. There are videos. There's PDF downloads, a digital copy of my book. There's resources for parents, resources for teachers, so that they can help kids that maybe I can't get in front of or impact on. So I appreciate you getting the word out and helping me promote that. It means a lot to me.
Of course.
Yes, man.
It's no problem. It's definitely our pleasure. So everybody, so out there on Power 214, everybody on YouTube, definitely go out there and pick up Chris's book, Bullyproof Fitness. He's out there doing a lot of good stuff for children, for parents, for mental health, all of it. So definitely go support. And guys, you can catch Power 214 every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, at 12 p.m. Central time, and at 1 p.m. Eastern time.
And you can catch us on YouTube on Friday after the video at any time. And if you like our video, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when we post.
All right.
That's right.
And this has
been or else.
There you go. Look,
that's coming from
Scorpion. So you can be like, get over here and hit the subscribe button.
That's right. Tune in to the Square Roundtable. That's Scorpion's orders. Do it, or there's going to be trouble.
Hey,
awesome. This has been the Square Roundtable. We are out.
Peace.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.
All right, thanks.
All right, Chris. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.